Cool. Well, thank you, Lennert, for joining me on Handpan Voices. How you doing? You
Definitely.
okay?
I'm actually doing wonderful. Thank you, Phil. And I'm doing great.
Good stuff. Well, we're both here to talk about our shared love of this instrument, the handpan.
Mhm.
Uh, we all have a story to tell about it, where we found out about it and what got us into it. But let's talk about your musical background before you found the handpan. You said that you taught yourself the electric guitar at high school. Is that right?
Yeah,
Why did you do that?
I'm a stubborn man, I guess. In a way, I feel like learning things on my own gives some credit. Like I learned myself how to play the guitar, and it
Yeah.
gives me some feeling of confidence, I'd say.
Did you use any online courses, or did you just pick it up and play intuitively right from the word go? How did you teach yourself?
Honestly, no videos helped me through. I just picked up the guitar. I did need to learn a little bit of the theory, like what note is on what string. But as soon as you learn the alphabet of playing the notes, you
Yeah,
can work around, and then the idea of chords becomes natural. And after a while, you're just strumming away, and you just look for a chord and you create it. And whether someone online told you that that was a chord or you discovered it yourself, it gives you
yeah.
a bit different feeling, I guess. Like I discovered this.
Like you, I didn't do any music theory. I didn't receive any musical training. I was a DJ and a electronic music producer, just creating what I thought sounded good together. But over this Christmas holiday, I've decided to try and learn some music theory just to put the last piece of the jigsaw into how to put chord progressions together and to be able to play with other people in the future. And I'm quite enjoying it as just a project to do, right?
Yes,
It's just to understand what the notes are, what they're called, where they are, and things like that. So it can only help. Maybe I'll remember, maybe I'll forget. I
maybe you
don't
don't.
know.
I've come to the same conclusion as well. The music theory is now also something that I'm getting caught up on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Tell me about your studies because you're a clever man. I can tell
Mhm.
by your background. What did you study as a master's degree? What were you actually hoping to become, and did you achieve it?
I definitely achieved it. In school, there were, let's say, no resistances, no boundaries. I went to the science studies and went to the field of medicine, and actually just went everything went smoothly. There were no obstacles, and it was like steady the course, keep going on.
Yeah,
And after a while, you find yourself in working in the hospital, working with patients as a doctor, and that's like, yeah, you made it. And then you go on with the studies to develop the practice of something called anesthesiology, which means you work in the operating theater most often, also at the maternity
wow.
wards, giving the epidurals for the pain medication and all the interesting sciencey hospital stuffs. So yeah, I just found myself on a way without roadblocks until I discovered there was one giant roadblock, which was the consuming of time. I spent like 80 hours per week
Right.
on average, and it doesn't really help to develop your personal life. Like what's my identity actually? I've been walking this narrow road of around 11 or 12 years, only being directed in the goal of I'm becoming a doctor and I'm getting
Yeah.
better at becoming a doctor, and then suddenly it's like, oh, this is the only thing that identifies me.
Now, did you finish your career as a doctor before you found the handpan, or did you find the handpan first?
Let's say the handpan was right at the cusp of ending that career switch.
Wow.
So
Okay. Let's
yeah,
talk
it was.
about that then. Your first experience of the handpan. Now, your girlfriend dragged you along to a workshop that she was interested in. Tell me that story about that workshop.
Honestly, it was just as you said it. My girlfriend was interested in the workshop, and I went along because, I was a taxi driver, so to say. I didn't really have a lot of. I actually had a lot of choice because I could go somewhere else, but it was like, you know what? I'm gonna join this workshop. A new instrument. Let's see what it is. It's a reverse turtle, something like that. Let's run with it.
Yeah.
And honestly just flabbergasted from the first moment. That was She was not so invested in the instrument after all. She was just playing, and after an hour like, oh, I'm actually done with it, this isn't really resonating too much with me.
Yeah.
But I think me being Lennert was in a different space then. He took this instrument on his lap and was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
So that was
yeah,
was that the first time you'd heard one when it was put on your lap when you played a few notes? Was that the
yeah,
first time?
yeah.
Wow.
That was actually truly amazing because it's not like I've spent my time cruising the internet or YouTube
Yeah.
finding videos or hearing it being played. That was honestly the first time I heard it being played pure in its own essence.
That's amazing, isn't it? And
Actually,
so
it was.
you went home. Did you buy
Mhm.
one straight away, or did you just think, "Whoa"? Did you try and tell me what happened next after that workshop?
It instant renting, my friend.
Ah, right.
Like going home, and the guy who gave the workshop is a well-known person. He also organized band tribe, and
Ah,
he said like, "Oh, you can rent one of my many hand pans from the galore."
yeah.
And for I think for half a year, so that moment on for half a year long, I've been renting I think three different scales from him.
Mm,
Um, actually, I didn't let the handpan go from that moment on. Like
wow.
it was just a part every day, just playing, just some doing random stuff on the handpan. But it got more. It got up to the point like, let's get one.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm fascinated about this move, this switch in your life from
Mm.
doctor to yoga teacher. That
Yeah.
some so that may have the handpan may have had a part to play. Tell me about what happened with that. I mean, you said a moment ago you got to the point where you were just working all the time. 80 hours a week is massive amount of work. You were just getting up, being a doctor, coming home, going to sleep, getting up, being a doctor.
Mm.
That's very draining. It's such an amazing job to do. But one day
Mhm.
you said, enough is enough. Why yoga? Why a yoga teacher? And how long did that, what should we call it, transition? How long did the transition take from being a doctor to a yoga teacher?
Um, yeah, that's actually a good question. 3 months, and it's not a lot. It's not a lot, huh? 3 months.
No.
It took a few extra months to get officially, let's call it, installed in yoga studios.
Yeah.
But it was just a period of 3 months where something switched, man. Something
Yeah.
switched at work. It was not only the part of yoga which intrigued me. It was not only the musical development that I wished to develop further, like playing the handpan. It was just life in general. I was so curious, so enthusiastic about everything in life. I also learned more about becoming an organic farmer, growing your own veggies. Because I think up till then, some part of my brain believed that courgettes, zucchinis just grew in the supermarket.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of how things grew. I was so specialized in my field, and I
Yeah.
wanted to know more about everything in life in general. And I practiced some yoga at the days at the time, but I felt like I wanted to dive in more in the
Yeah.
yoga, in the music, in truly everything there was to life. Uh, I just needed more time. I wish I could have more time to spend on those trajectories. So I said to myself, let's take a break from the medicine. Let's take a break from this non-stop working in the hospital and only being, fulfilling the life of a doctor.
Hmm.
Let's do it differently. Let's explore. Let's develop.
What did your girlfriend think of this career change?
Oh, she was in a way my number one fan. She cheered me on. She was there for support as well. Because I may um, it may sound a bit like it was a super easy choice. It wasn't. It took some time, of course,
Yeah.
lots of talking through, but I had a lot of support from her, from my family as well, from
Yeah.
both my mom and my father. They were very supportive, which are the two persons you think you have to live
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
for with the standard, with the status of being a doctor. But there was a lot of support for actually taking this break, this pause, and this pause quickly resulted in me becoming a yoga teacher because as it happened this course was wonderful and the teaching aspect of me was very much intrigued. I always wanted to become a professor. I saw myself in
Right.
the future becoming a professor and teaching people, but it never happened because I got stuck in the OR, in the operating theater, because I
Yeah.
enjoyed the OR, working in a team, and well, it wasn't stuck, but it was just nice there. I really enjoyed doing my job there, but I
Yeah.
wanted more. And somehow the teaching aspect, it shined right through me. It was something I felt very compelled to,
Mm.
and it happened. It just happened. I can't say it otherwise. It happened. I ran in smooth. Like in a way, you could say the universe came to me and said, like, Leonard,
Yeah.
there's no choice. This is non-negotiable. You're gonna run this path, and
Yeah.
it happened.
I love that. I love that. Now
Hmm.
I've been involved now with the handpan, not for very long either. Only maybe, I don't know, 18 months. And I'm finding my way, my own little journey. And I did reach out
Hmm.
to local yoga teachers in my area, and some responded straight away. And I have played at yoga classes or breathwork
Wow,
classes. But other,
cool.
yeah, yeah, like literally just freestyle for like an hour or so, just literally sit there and play. But other yoga teachers completely blanked me, and I've since realized or found out that a lot of yoga teachers, um they their conclusion is yoga is done in silence, that music isn't part of yoga. I wonder what your opinion is of that, or if you have found a way to incorporate music into your yoga practice or your teaching of it, if any way.
If in any way. Uh, Music is, in my opinion, definitely a part of the practice. I do understand the silence part. This depends from teacher to teacher.
Yeah.
I always is a big term. I mostly apply music, and I definitely use a lot of handpan music, not being played by myself, in practices as well. But it depends on the mood, the moment, the people. I'm
Yeah.
very much of a person. If I walk into the room, I see the students, I take a look. Okay, what is needed today? Because sometimes this is the rare occasions you look around and people just ask with their facial expression, like, I need silence. It's so much in my
Yeah.
life. I need some quiet. Then I can offer that. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely music. I think they can work around both. In a way, a little bit more creative in my yoga classes, a little bit different than the more traditional style, which is just fine, I think. And I have brought my handpan to the classes as well, although it was my older handpan, which was nitrated steel, so it didn't resonate as much as I'd like to in the room.
Yeah.
So, but next, I think in 2 days, I'm gonna give my first introduction of the new handpan in the group. So,
Ooh.
yeah,
Have you got a
it's coming.
special class set up for that? Have you made notes, and will you just go and see how it goes on the day?
Well, it's definitely the class is definitely special in its own right. That I don't have to look around as much, which just means I put people in a pose and then wait for 5 minutes, and then we go to the next pose for 5 minutes. It's a special notice
Nice.
or field of yoga, which is known as Yin yoga,
Yeah.
which does make it a lot easier to play handpan, because
Yeah.
otherwise I like to be in between the people, looking around, changing about, moving with them. You can't
Yeah.
play the handpan while doing so.
Yin yoga is
So,
more longer poses, right? That's
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I presume you're probably a bit more familiar with this, having played in
Yeah.
classes.
That's the
Sure.
class that I played at, Yin yoga classes for
Look at
sure.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go back to the instrument a little bit, because
Mhm.
I'm also very interested in your opinions about playing intuitively. A lot of people struggle with this, Leonard. A lot of people need to be shown what to do. So, do you believe that anybody can play intuitively in a
Sure.
handpan?
Sure. That
Yeah.
for me, that's it's a quick answer. Definitely, everyone can play intuitively.
And if
Let's
it was somebody starting out with a handpan and they've seen somebody like Malta Martin playing with so
Yeah.
much expression and emotion, and they like, I don't know how to start with that. What advice would you give to people to try and make a start by playing more intuitively?
Honestly, persistence, or not per se the word persistence. I'd say let's. I'll express it this way: pick up the instrument every day, almost every day. Like, motivation is not a requirement, not a requisite. Simply
Yeah,
pick up the instrument, and I'm not talking about hours of practice. But if the instrument, if the handpan is just laying open in the field here, it's laying next to a place where I can instantly play. So there is no resistance, no obstacle in the way to pick it up. for 10 minutes. What is 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Instead of taking your scrolling, your doom scrolling habits, uh, honestly, you can pick up the instrument. And for me, that has worked a lot, like the persistency of picking the instrument up every day without ever feeling motivated, like, oh, maybe I'm not feeling it today. But if you pick up the instrument, something clicks again. Like that
Yeah.
first magical moment, something clicks again, and you play. And you can make that moment become a practice. You can
Mm.
make it become into a full metronome practice with some exercises you have from whatever workshop or master class you've been following. Or you can just keep on playing for 15 minutes, maybe less, and you put it aside. And in my way, that's how you develop a toolbox of understanding, feeling the instrument. And the bigger your toolbox is, the less you have to think about it.
Let's talk about that toolbox.
Mm,
Masterthehandpan.com, of which we're both members of. We've been members of the
yeah.
village. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts about that website. How has it impacted how you've learned the handpan?
Being someone who was done actually up till the handpan, everything on his own, this was a gift. You could even say sent from the heavens. Thank you, David, and now the other David as well. The
Yeah,
both Dave and David. Their job was phenomenal. I mean, honestly, the just having their support, their insights, and the instrument made it paved the way to nice exercises, paved the way to increasing that toolbox kit. And I enjoyed the simplicity of the side. I enjoy the ease of it. Frankly, I'm always talking with a lot of love about this platform. I'm talking about a lot of love about the options you have there. It's not, let's call it, perfect in the way that it just a notation system. It's a little bit wonky and chaotic because every teacher has his or her own
their own thing.
notation
Yeah,
system. But sure, it works. It makes it authentic. It makes it have its own imprint, and it's just a strong platform. And the village that has come forth from said platform. I mean, come on. Have you ever met a group of forum where there's so much support, encouragement, and just people caring for each other? It's like I know a couple of these people. How is that
yeah,
possible? How is
yeah,
that possible? I know you, for example, from the village. How is
yeah.
that possible by just having online conversation or the simple like or the simple comment?
How do you
Thank you.
think of Mateus's music? Have you heard him recently in the village? Have you heard his
Oh yeah,
music?
he's very prevalent. Very prevalent. I had some critical questions like, "You sure are only playing for what was it, 2 3 months?" Like
Yeah,
how I even though you have a drummer background, which gives you phenomenal benefits on
yeah,
playing the handpan in the percussive way, but his playing is not only great in the percussive way, but his
yeah.
melodies are. He has a nice ear to it, so I'm just baffled,
I
just
am.
baffled by his plays. Like, is this? And I do have this critical judgment. Like, okay, he's playing the drums, but sure, 2 3 months. Has a wonderful scale that does help. His
Yeah,
wonderful Shambhala scale. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very nice scale to work
yeah.
with.
Yeah, I was
But
looking at the notes earlier. He sent me a screenshot of the notes
yeah,
that he has on that scale. I'm going to try and help him recreate that scale on handpanner.com. So
yeah,
he can, like we just had right at the beginning when we first started talking before the interview about finding out what the chords are. He's probably playing them already, right? We both know he's playing those chords already, the progressions are already, but he's quite interested to find out what they are, where they are. And so,
hmm
I found a few different chords just literally this week. E flat major on my F2 low pygmy. There's only two notes that are available. There's
hmm
not three, but there's two. And I played them, and it's the perfect chord to finish a little progression on that I'd never bothered doing before, just because I found out about it. So yeah, you
yeah,
could come up with your own chords and your own method of playing, but every now and again, when you find out about some of the music theory about this E flat major chord that I've found, I was like, wow, I'm so glad that I did this little
hmm
bit of music theory to find out about that is there, that I can now have that extra element that I didn't know existed because it wasn't a natural place to hit. It was like a top
hmm
low note and a bottom low note together on the same side, which I didn't really do before. I was just naturally
hmm
hitting, alternative sides and all that sort of stuff. But two together, E flat major, I was like, ah, it sounds so
yeah.
lovely.
Such a discovery, right? I should say
Yeah,
Handpanner is just such a wonderful tool. It's Handpanner has also changed my life with my previous handpan. I haven't taken it up for my new handpan because I felt like I first wanted to dive into it by playing intuitively, and after a while, like then we go to the next phase to is there another chord you wish to learn more about, or to
yeah,
have I missed something? Feels nicer to experience it that way, to have like a check afterwards rather than taking the handpan, instantly taking the manual. Okay, what should we do here? What's the chord? And then just intensely studying the chords firsthand. I felt like I first wanted to hear. You have given the suggestion many times, and I recommend it to anyone. Playing in the dark is
yeah,
just it just turn off one of your senses and suddenly things change. You truly start to listen more. Playing slower added to the entire party, and listen. Adrian Porcia always talks about quality of the sound when striking a note, and
yeah,
when you truly listen, that changes so much.
yeah,
You can instantly hear when anyone is playing. Just like actually Matthias, his playing is very nice for the ear because he has a good sense of how hard or how
yeah,
soft he's hitting the notes.
yeah,
Just as an example for
yeah.
how good he is in the
Mm.
beginning, and secondly of how good we perceive such quality being played on handpan can be if you're just having a good ear. So train your ear by sitting in the dark.
David Kucherman has got a new masterclass coming out in the beginning of 2025, which is, I think they're calling it like the ingredients, the handpan ingredients. So it will
Mm,
appeal to your new cooking and growing nature. And that's all they
mm,
are, is the more ingredients that you have in your, that you can gather in your cooking pot, the better that your dish will come out. And so I'm really looking
mm.
forward to that, just to find out some of the ingredients to put together in my own way and your own way as well, Lennert. But what other courses have appealed to you? What other teachers that have resonated with you specifically?
This is such a nice question, and my answer is always very straightforward. The man or the player who inspired me the most is Adrian Portia. Adrian
Right.
Portia.
Yeah.
I maybe I've also met him in real life, but his character, his way of looking at the instrument, he has a simplicity in things like it's just about the sound quality. Most of his plays are improvised as well, which I definitely like and enjoy. But him playing is like him translating stuff from within him to the outside through an instrument. And he
Yeah.
has a phenomenal toolbox. His fingers are master crafted instruments. And because of practice, because he practiced simply, he took up the instrument so many times, and now that has enabled him to just fly about the instrument. So I like him as a person, as a character, definitely. But I haven't done his course on the Master the Handpan. I
Right.
haven't done it because there were a lot more other courses that have appealed to me, and I think I've done almost like all of the courses
Have
up till
you?
now. Yeah.
Gosh.
So
Do you
yeah,
have a
except
favorite? Do you have a favorite, or do you think they're all good?
hmm, well, hmm, Hmm, that's a tough one to think about. Do you have a favorite? I mean, every course speaks for itself. Speaks for itself and has its own audience for it. Like the beginner courses are wonderful. Both the Kucherman and David's own course they work. They do the thing what is needed to get you jump started into
Yeah.
your adventure with the handpan. Wonderful. I should say, I think up till now, I've learned the most from Alexander Merck's
Uh
class.
huh.
I think
Yeah.
his way of teaching was very nice, also very simple, very straightforward. His mindset is not too rigid. He is
Yeah.
very flexible in his thinking. Nice, good quotes from him. Like his
Yeah.
story about playing slower. You probably remember. I think he even posted this in the village, like playing slower.
Yeah.
Uh, to make you a better artist and performer. Marlo, also a very nice, authentic person. I wasn't really involved in her course in the beginning, but then most of the tricks I use, and one of her signature, I think it's Mercury from Mars, probably, as one of the plays that oftentimes just jump back into. It has this beautiful boom boom heartbeat pattern where we're slamming down with the wrist. It
Yeah.
has it's so lovely, and her course was very enjoyable as well. So add those two persons together, and that is the miracle you get. That is the wonder you receive.
We're both members of Master the Handpan and the community on there. But how do you feel about people playing the handpan with other people, with jamming with others? Is it? Do you think it's important part of learning instrument?
To me, important in learning the instrument, yes, because you have such phenomenal benefit of sitting next to another person, going all beyond this exciting threshold of what is he or she going to think, because it's another handpan player most likely, and you feel a bit more judged because they know what you're doing and they can hear the false notes here and there. But you learn so much, and I have met up with someone from the village as well, from the last interview with Anne Marie and a couple of other people for a jam session. It was one of the greatest moments. It's one for the books, you could say. One of the greatest moments of the year. I can definitely add it to the
Yeah,
list. It was so enjoyable, warm, and handpan players, they always have this cuddly vibe to them. That they understand the deeper connection,
yeah,
and you learn a lot through playing with the other people and adding the handpan scales together, and just recognizing, okay, we can only play 4 notes together. Let's rock
okay,
and roll.
yeah.
Like getting to know the dissonant chords, or just how a scale does or does not work with the other ones, is phenomenal. And yeah, through her, I've been able to play the ROF scales as well, the ROF, the ROF fast
Ravast,
handpans.
yeah.
Yes.
That's a very good point that you've just made there, Leonard. So some people, will, including me, would think you have to have the same scale to be able to jam with somebody else. Oh, you have a D code, so you have to have a D code to jam with that person. So you're saying if you do a bit of research beforehand, find out what notes you have the same, and then you could jam with somebody on a completely different scale. Is that right?
Definitely. Honestly, we didn't even do any research. We went along, and if notes don't correspond, you don't play them.
Of
you just,
course.
it's like putting a sticker on it, like don't touch, and it limits what you have on the handpan scale. But let's be honest, most people nowadays have handpan scales with over 10 notes practically, and bottom notes and whatnot.
Yeah,
So you have some reserve. You have enough arsenal on the handpan to play with, and it's not the amount of notes you have that make a jam session. It's just a connection you can find with others, and you find this connection through, well, not dissonant notes, through what's the opposite? Harmonizing notes, consonant notes,
yeah.
consonant chords, stuff like that. So yeah, you don't need to have the same scales, in my opinion. It does work.
I've got one interesting question for you. I want to get as just just for fun. I'm going to put 5,000 euros in your bank account to go and get your favorite handpan scale. What would it be? Who makes it?
Well, I,
Is that enough?
I it's well, first thing off, it's gonna be. It's such a nice question to ask, but I do have to say I found my handpan already.
Great.
Like I have it. My handpan, the one that I have now, is just fills all the things, all the buckets, or
Yeah.
however you could name it,
Ticks
all
all the
the
boxes.
ticks
Yeah.
all the boxes. And my current, it's a C harmonic minor, but it's like this weird stuff muted, because I can also just play the C minor scale on it by adding, or it has blues possibilities, it has the Arabian possibilities, classical moods. It just doesn't have a major, but I mean, we're fine with that.
Yeah.
I guess a major can become a little bit too twingly dingly sometimes. Um, and I love my maker. I love the guy who made it. Is from the Netherlands, very close. You see
Yeah.
where the simplicity goes. Like he's just
Yeah.
an hour drive away,
Yeah.
and but he makes wonderful handpans also on Ember Steel from his company Sunyata Handpan. But I met the guy. We all have this story. I met the builder. We were in contact. We spoke a lot, and we developed a scale together. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want? Like just the perfect scale. And I've sat down like so many people, they can relate to this. Like, I want the scale, and then you listen from scale to scale. You listen to previews, or just people playing that handpan scale, and
Yeah.
then just going all over them. In handpan, they're just playing every different scale, to up and
Yeah.
down, all the way down. And then you discover just what notes fits you best, what scale. And I found mine, C harmonic. I mean, the C harmonic minor is now the one that currently fits the most.
Great.
So I'd give you your 5,000 euro back, and I hope You could buy your own favorite handpan, your new scale, to have the same enjoyment as I have now.
Fantastic. Can I just ask you about that? Maybe you don't have an alternative opinion because you've never had to do it, but what do you feel? Do you feel strongly about people buying from a handpan maker directly and creating a relationship, or do you think it's just you are lucky that you have one close by?
I was definitely lucky. I do feel getting an instrument like this, it's it gives more of a connection. It gives more of a deeper understanding. It's not just another Fender guitar on the wall. It's not another Stradivarius violin you have in a closet. It's a personalized. It has a deeper. It's a personalized instrument. It's more authentic. So go to a builder is the thing I'd say. You can buy a lot of things online, I'm very aware, but I like the story that my two hand pans have. I like the story of being in touch, being in contact with those people, and understanding the one who made the instrument. It's not like a factory made it, they made it through sheer work. Like a craftsmanship, like a
Yeah,
blacksmith in medieval times who made you your perfect knight's sword and
yeah.
gave it a name eventually. This is practically the same thing. Who is your blacksmith and who made you your knight's sword?
You seem to
Sure.
like simplicity. Your bio is just individual words, and I'll read them out because I like them so much. Teacher, creator, critic, yoga, handpan, garden, audience, kitchen, peace. They're very thought out words, but they're also very simple. You obviously found a lifestyle of enjoying the simple things in life. Is that right?
100% Phil.
That's where the joy is, isn't it? When we keep our lives simple.
Yeah, I do believe that. It's my opinion, definitely. I know it doesn't go along for a lot of people, but in a way, the less you have, it's not only the material thing, but the less there is around you, the more you seem to enjoy the little things, I guess. Like quality above quantity, definitely.
Uh-huh.
I mean, for sure. But that's what keeps me going. It gives you some peace of mind, I'd say.
Leonard, thank you so much for speaking to me on Handpan Voices today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you.
It was a pleasure as well, Phil.